Hello, everybody. Very excited to get started. Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the awesome People Party. My name is Wayne McCulloch. That is awesome. My name is Wayne McCulloch. I am the SVP of Salesforce University. And like so many things here at Salesforce, the best things that happen is through collaboration. So with that, I would like to say on behalf of Salesforce University and our awesome App Exchange partners like Conversica, DocuSign, DrawLoop, Spanning, and of course MuleSoft, we just wanted to say how much we really appreciate and wanted to say thank you for all the great work that you guys do. So there's no doubt that you guys dedicate a lot of your time and intelligence to helping the Salesforce community of customers, whether it's through your success community participation, whether it's through these free office hours you provide, regular user group meetings that you guys have, which are phenomenal, as well as being our best advocates. Whenever Salesforce wants to get the word out about something cool and exciting that we know is going to change the way that people connect with their customers, this is the team that helps make that happen. So we have a real action-packed hour coming up for you. So people are like, whoa, action-packed. And literally we have networking events, we have information for you here, a lot of insights as well, which we're super excited about. So one of the things that I wanted to take you through very quickly was around the agenda. Because for us, bringing the community leaders like yourself together to kick off Dreamforce 14, we felt like we wanted to give you as much as we could in as little time as we had to give that to you. So first of all, I'm going to share with you a massive new user group competition that we're going to be kicking off very, very soon. And you'll see that. Ooh, it's going to be exciting. Secondly, we have Josh Hoskins is going to run a demo jam with some co-hosts. So quick, yeah. Is Geraldine Gray here? Yes, she is. We want to say a quick shout out, thank you for that idea. We think that was an awesome one. Absolutely. Jeremiah Owyang will share his latest thinking on collaborative economy, and we have plenty of time for Q&A as well with him, which is going to be super cool. We have something here. Look, Dreamforce is known as kind of part rock concert, part conference. We have the ultimate music event for the entire week here. So you're going to get it on day one. It's going to blow away the rest of the week. Super excited about that. Okay, and then finally, we have about an hour. We have about an hour after the event to really network, get together, ask a lot of questions, and really mingle. So we're really excited about all of that. So in order to get started, I want to kick off a short video to get the session underway.
User Group Challenge 2014. Your challenge, increase the number of certified members in your user group by 50% or more and win. Prizes include bragging rights, a celebration at your user group meeting hosted by one of our master instructors, recognition at Dreamforce 2015, and a trophy. We're looking at you. Sign up for the challenge. No ice water bucket required.
So let me just say, before the controversy begins on Twitter and etc., I'm Australian, and I said Australia should go first. I just want to say that's what I suggested. I was shut down. No, we're starting in the next 3 months in the United States, and then we're moving out around the world. Because, you know, if we get it wrong or if it doesn't really work, we don't want to damage Australia in any way. I just want to be very clear about that. Okay, so what we're actually going to do is go around to 12 cities in the US to begin with. Over the next 3 months, we're running 3 days of certification prep class. It's our brand new training. You guys have been asking over and over and say, look, people really need help on getting these exams. It's very stressful. They're going out to lots of third-party vendors. They're spending money, and they're really freaking out about getting certified. And so what we decided to do is put all that together and build that for our customers and our partners to help them get ready to take the certification exam. And of course, 2 days of certifications will be made available as well, kind of like here at Dreamforce. So we're going to start with Boston, is our very first stop. So we've got some Boston people here, very nice. We're going to start with Boston at the first week of November and then keep rolling it out. So we're really excited. I'm looking forward to seeing which user group is going to take home the trophy for 2014. So with that, I would now like to move on to the second part of our session today, and I'll be handing it over. You may need to bump up the microphone.
Hi guys, welcome to Dreamforce. First big event. How many people got on yesterday? And how many people, is it their first event? This is my first event. All right, awesome, cool. Well, I hope you guys are ready because this week is going to be action-packed. So if you guys don't know me, my name is Joshua Hoskins. I'm a Salesforce MVP. I also work for Aperio, and I travel around the globe. Right now, I'm based in London. And so today, I've been invited to be basically, I would guess, the disc jockey of the demo jam. So we're going to get started in just a minute. Are you guys all set? No one else is moving across? All right, where's Dan? Where's Dan? Dan the man? Yes. Dan. All right, so first up is going to be Dan, and he is actually from DocuSign. So if anyone, who's used DocuSign? Who has DocuSign installed? It's amazing. All right.
Yeah, what's up?
Who has never heard of DocuSign before at all?
Don't admit that. It means you're like still listening to vinyl at home.
All right.
It's very uncool.
All right, so here's Dan. He's going to give you a demo of DocuSign. Over to Dan.
Absolutely. I have to admit one thing up front. I'm mostly just here to hang out with Geraldine, the Sultan of SaaS, and that's why I agreed to do this. And that's with 3 S's, if you're wondering, not 2 S's of SaaS. So again, if you haven't used DocuSign, you live under a rock, and I'm really sorry. Good luck with that whole fax machine thing. I'm actually, I get to say jokes because a 2-minute video of DocuSign is stretching it. But as you can tell, we're always in an opportunity. Not always, we can send from anything, but it's really easy to send from an opportunity. Tyrell Corporation here. We're gonna click the DocuSign action, and I'm gonna grab my document. I feel like agreement.doc, and I'm of course here with Geraldine, and I am in person with Geraldine, which is amazeballs, as I said. And it's true, it's very true. Helps if I actually click the button while buttering you up.
Keep buttering.
I know, it's my wife trained me well. See, it's really good. Butter? Is that like a chip butty? Is that one of those things? Okay, cool. Well, obviously I want Geraldine to sign within 2 minutes, so I'm going to stop yakking. I'm going to make sure that all the places to sign and other data to fill in are in the right spot. Because I'm lazy, I already set that up in advance, but you could of course change your mind. I'm going to, because I'm in person with Geraldine, I'm going to pass the iPad over to her. It's one of the things they taught me in college is close the deal at the bar, not later, at the bar. See, all that education, it's good for something. That is, and the nice thing is that this is actually a legally binding signature. This is why I said close the deal at the bar, not later. See? Look at that. See? What? So nice to meet you, too. So clearly we're going to finish, and I'm going to drown my tears in a Mexican Coke. That's right. It's all good. And I'm going to go check my feed, and of course, that gets sucked right back into my feed automatically. And I can get back as a salesperson to actually selling as opposed to sitting in front of a fax machine like a bat. Well, that's what salespeople actually do after they make the boat payment. So, but the really key is it's better to have them at the bar than bothering you in IT ops. So.
Okay.
And another round for Geraldine.
Yay, Geraldine. All right, thanks, Dan. That was really, really great. I'm going to challenge all of you in the room this year at Dreamforce. When you're talking to people, you guys are smart people, you run user groups, and you know this. But really think about the value that these applications drive for these businesses. So when you think DocuSign, think speed, think documentation, think agility, and not having to wait around for something to get signed. So you're going to be able to increase the closure of your deal, which is pretty cool. Cool. So next on, we've got Mr. Matt from Spanning. And so Matt has a very special place in my heart because I was actually his app maverick for Spanning. Thank you. He's buttering me up. I just got a pass for a party. Matt Hamlin is the product director for spanning backups, and I was his app maverick for the solution, and he's got something very special for you to share today, and it's going to be around automated backups. So over to Matt. Maybe. And go.
There we go. Excellent, yeah. Thanks, Josh. Oh, I guess I do that. Thank you, yeah. I'm Matt Hamlin, Director of Products at Spanning, and I wanted to make sure that, let's see here. So we provide backup and directory store for Salesforce. Obviously, Salesforce is not going to lose your data, but you probably will, or your users will. They're going to make mistakes. You're going to have sync errors. You're going to mess up uploading some data or metadata. And so we back up all of your objects, custom objects, third-party applications, all the data that resides on the Force.com platform. We include that included over in the weekly export. So here is the administrative screen to show you how to back up the data. It's in-app. It does automated daily backups, so you don't have to do the weekly export anymore. The administrator can just come in and check on that, see if the backups have performed properly. You can initiate an on-demand backup at any point in time. If you want to look at what's included in the backup, you can drill down and see all the information that's there. Select any of the objects that you want to export, and click Export on those. So this makes it really easy for you to move from weekly export to automated daily backups, just set it and forget it, and when you need to find your data to recover, it's right there for you. Now, the other thing we do is direct on-page restore. And so if a user is working within the product, salesperson, marketing person, and they come in, they start editing a record, they might come in and change some data. Maybe it's Maybe it's a salesperson who doesn't want to anyone have their phone numbers, and so they delete that data, destroy it. What they might do here. And when they click save, whatever was there before is pretty much gone, right? Well, you guys are MVPs, you know how this works. All right, so let's go. So a user can come in, selectively choose exactly what they want to restore. It's field by field comparison. This is done as the user, so no on-page security is ever violated. Click things I want to restore. Click confirm. Restore. Fancy loading mask. And then it goes right back. And you're back where you were. 2 minutes.
Woo, that was great.
All right, yeah.
Everyone give it up for Matt. So Matt and I have this tagline. He just showed you the power of his tool when his SaaS platform backs that SaaS up. There's a prize.
Price.
Price.
$48 a user a year. Standard active users.
Nonprofit discount?
Yes. What? Yes, metadata.
Yes, metadata
every
as well.
day, automatically.
Woo!
Set it and forget it. Come see us at the B Bar, Cloud Collective, and get your fancy secret thing from me.
Yes. Back that SaaS up. Thanks, Matt. So the value in this tool, guys, is the fact that you have to correct less data. Your users can use self-service in-app, in-application, and respect all Salesforce.com permissions that they have, and just restore data as needed. So that's truly valuable to any person using that. So next, we have Adam and Mike. Adam and Mike, where are you? All right. So Adam and Mike are going to demo to you MuleSoft today. Over to you guys.
So I want to thank you all for coming here to MuleSoft. What we're going to take you through is a product that we are releasing next November, this November, and you may be familiar with with Data Loader from MuleSoft. So this is the evolution of our product, Data Loader. And in this scene, I am our VP of Sales. We've recently adopted Salesforce, and I love it. I can manage my team, I can see what they're doing, and I've got really great visibility, but the adoption of my team is kind of slow. And what they keep telling me is that they need to be able to see data from other systems in order for them to really use their Salesforce systems. They can't see their marketing data. And the big challenge is the ability to see order information that's living in their custom legacy systems, their SAPs. So Nick's going to take us through data gateways from MuleSoft, our Anypoint data gateways, and tell us a little bit about the solution.
Cool, and by the way, he's in sales, and I'm in product, and he's actually giving later dates than I am. That's pretty impressive. Okay. So I'm going to walk you through our new product. I want some rolling momentum here. Come on, this is Anypoint Data Gateway. And what's cool about this is that, say I have a sales order that's sitting in SAP, right? And I want to just get that out really quickly and embed it into Salesforce using the new external objects with Platform Connect. Well, what I can do is I can create a gateway, and I'm going to walk you through the process here. It's pretty quick. I can just name the gateway, put a description on it, and then click Next, and that'll take me to my authentication. Now, what I'm authenticating here is actually on MuleSoft's Cloud Hub infrastructure. What's cool about this is not the infrastructure. You guys are like, that's table stakes. But you have the option to actually set up a VPN connection between our cloud infrastructure and your on-prem deployment of SAP, Oracle, or whatever you're making the gateway for. So it's seamless connectivity. You don't have to worry about firewall and all that security nonsense. Now I'm going to take some of my SAP information. I'm going to point this gateway at SAP so I can expose it as a simple service or a data service. And I'm going to go through a quick validation and publish this out. And now it's been published to our cloud, and you have an active data service that you can use in Salesforce to create external objects. And if you don't believe me, here's the external object, or I'm sorry, the external data source that we've just pushed right into Salesforce. Now, some of you guys may not be familiar with external data sources because this is a new function that's coming actually in the winter release. It's in beta today. But essentially, we're the only vendor that's actually automating that configuration and sending it right into Salesforce. So you don't have to worry about syncing it and managing that going forward. Now let's go back really quick to the data gateway. What's really cool about this product is that I can actually go in and navigate through SAP's database tables.
10 seconds.
And I can, 10 seconds. And I can actually create objects on top of that database table that align to my product. And as you can see here, if I click on my data source, here's my objects. And if I want to search,
5.
you can see I'm searching
4,
SAP
3.
in addition to
That's taking a while.
Department
2,
of Defense.
1.
He might be
Oh,
from London, but
taken a
I'm from
long
New
time.
York. I guarantee you I can talk louder.
Oh, you don't know. You don't know.
There we go.
Finally.
And that's SAP data, everyone, in
All right.
Salesforce.
Thank you. Thank you, Adam and Mike. All right. Cool. So thank you. So guys, value. I need one person to say value.
Value. Oh. Oh, what?
All right, so she can say value. That's great. So, all right, cool. So there's value. I mean, you guys know you're always trying to integrate. The buzzword out there is 360 review the customer. The power of getting data in your system live in real time with just going through a wizard is very valuable to your customers. So that's very cool. All right, next we are going to bring up Will. Where's Will? Hey, how's it going? Good. Welcome.
Thank you.
All right, what are you going to demo for us today? Will.
Conversica.
Conversica. Awesome. So,
So you may live in London, but I'm from London.
yeah, that's why I had to get you to say the name.
And now here.
I didn't want to mispronounce it. So
Right.
over to you.
I noticed you started taking time here as well. It's
I did.
First two, I don't know.
Ready?
All right.
1, 2.
Here we go.
Go.
All right. So, with my 2 minutes. So imagine you are at a trade show. You just collected over 3,000 leads, and you're back. Now, what would you normally do with those leads? What would your marketing group do? They might put them into Pardot. They might put them into Salesforce, throw them over the wall to inside sales to follow up on. What Conversica can do is actually allow you to identify those people who are really interested in what you're doing, what they're in your product. So how do we do that? Well, we use artificial intelligence to carry on a two-way conversation over email with your prospects. Here's a list of the leads that you might be working right now. And look, Justin, he's responded. We've marked him as green. Let's dig a little bit more into his lead record here. All right, so first thing you might notice is that the Conversica emails come from a virtual persona. In this case, the name is Rachel. We send out an email. He responds back, yeah, I would like to be spoken to. We send back a follow-up email. We've interpreted that response. We've understood it. That's what the AI is doing. The artificial intelligence is figuring out that he wants to be followed up with. And that's when he gives us a lot more information about when he could actually be spoken to. We're built into Salesforce. This is our dashboard. It allows you to measure and monitor your performance of all the campaigns or conversations you're having. where you can look at the engagement rates, the number of new telephone numbers you might have collected, undeliverability rates, that kind of thing. It also is where you get to edit the name and the title of your Conversica persona. How am I doing with time here?
You have 30 seconds. This is really interesting.
Oh, all right.
45.
I'm gonna go back here a little bit then, because it obviously went a little fast here. So if somebody responds back and says, I'm not interested, or even worse, stop emailing me, stop bugging me, then we'll interpret that automatically. We'll unsubscribe them in our system. We'll also opt them out in Salesforce as well. So we have that ability to kind of float to the top the people who are actually really interested in learning more about you. All right, I think I'm going to finish up here.
15 seconds.
We do have a Dreamforce offer. We do have a little table over there. Our Dreamforce offer is 66% off. And we're also going to be sponsoring a user group. So come by, drop your card, fill out a form in our fishbowl over there to win a chance to get a free user group or a sponsored user group by us.
Cool. Thank you very much. And that was Conversica. Wow. So show of hands of people who have seen that for the first time today. That was some pretty cool shit, I just want to say. Yeah, that was great. So next up, so the value there, obviously, for you guys is, you know, creepy, spooky conversations, less people. All right, cool. Value, we got value. All right, next up is Paul. Where's Paul? Is Paul in the room? Paul. All right, come up, Paul. So Paul is going to demo to us today DrawLoop, which is all about packaging documents. And over to Paul.
All right, so really excited to be here today. DrawLoop is awesome, and we are here to prove it. We provide document automation and generation from any document, any data, and any delivery. We can even grab external data or data foreign to Salesforce and inject it into our document processes. Today's use case is Maris Engineering. They're chemical engineers, and you can see the products that they sell, service, and install here. We're going to go ahead and jump into their org right now. They have a very unique Visualforce page that manages their business requirements surrounding onboarding of new clients. Vince is going to click on the Sales Sage letter, which is one of ours. And we're evaluating data in Salesforce, going to deliver the document to the appropriate person at the appropriate time. In addition, we kicked off an approval process with the click of that one button. Here's a document we just generated. It goes to one of their customers and talks about their onboarding process. Vince is going to go back to the approval process at this point. And this has really been a great journey for Maris Engineering. This has allowed them to become the customer company that everyone wants to become and talks about. The approval process kicks off a document, and it delivers it to Gmail, hopefully. And that document is an invoice request to their accounting department and a commission request so that they can invoice their clients and pay their employees. So the DrawLoop difference, we reduce friction in document automation and generation. To migrate from org to org, you do it with authentication and clicking to migrate, and then bam, it just happens. We did this deployment with no code, no button parameters, and no SQL queries. And you can see the benefit that they got from that. And last, we're in an office or a building full of awesome people, so let's be awesome. Everybody who got a swag bag, you'll find a Chromecast in there with a bit.ly URL. Go to it, and we will donate in your name to the UCSF Benioff Children's Hospital, $10. We'll go up to $3,000, $4,000. You guys all. So please do it. The URL, the page expires tonight at midnight, so hopefully you guys can find some time to do that. And appreciate your time today.
Awesome. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, demo guy. All right, guys. So coming to an end, DrawLoop, the value there is it's dynamic. It's in-app, right? So you're able to build your documents, package them, run it through processes and things like that, just as you can do with some other tools in the ecosystem as well. But that was elegant, to be honest with you. Cool. So that draws it to a close for my end. How many guys thought that was awesome? Awesome sauce? All right, cool. All right, and another round of applause for our demoers and partners. Thank you, guys. All right, back over to Wayne. Thank you.
Well, that was awesome. I have never seen that many demos done in that short amount of time in my life. That was crazy. So again, thank you for the suggestion. Rocks. Okay, how many people here are familiar with Jeremiah Owyang's work? Yeah? I had a feeling a couple of you would get pretty excited based on what I can only describe as an exuberant amount of happiness from Matt and Erica when they discovered that he was available to join us today. So Jeremiah, we're really excited to have you here to join us, and we're really excited to hear your insights and ideas that you have for what we call the Awesome People Party. Thanks, Jeremiah.
All right. Thank you guys for having me. You guys do know it's Sunday, right? Doesn't matter. All right, so I love some of those apps that you guys were showing. Actually, can you help me out with the slides? What if we put some of them together for like a dating use case? Taking like the DocuSign, trying to get those digits, but before that, you use that AI to use social network chatting so you can say the right things. Guys, you know how hard it is, right? Some very talented stuff. I'm sure we can get it together. Let's go back to the top. All right, let's do a show of hands. Has anybody here backed anything on Kickstarter or Indiegogo? Okay, lots of folks. How about used a ride-sharing app like Uber, Lyft, Sidecar? Just about everybody. Is anybody staying at an Airbnb this week? Okay, a few folks. How much are you guys paying? Just curious, just shout it out. 200, great. What else? 55, wow. A little bit more than that? Great. So all of these new apps, and many of them are happening right here from this neighborhood here in San Francisco, are emerging. And they're being heavily, heavily backed. And I'm here not just to talk about using them, but I'm going to talk about what it means to business, both to your careers, to your company, and eventually, I think, to Salesforce and its community. So let's take a look. Let's talk about embracing the power of the crowd. And if you want to tweet at me and laugh at me, whatever, you can do that. My Twitter account is my first initial, J, and then Owyang, O-W-Y-A-N-G. All right, let's take a look. So obviously you've heard of these trends, but it's been on the cover of The Economist, the sharing economy, when people are sharing their homes, boats, trains, planes, cars, time, and money. And you probably also heard that the United States White House hosted a Maker Fair in May. And it's also on the cover of Wired. And Tech Shop is right down the street where Square came out of this maker space. The crowd is creating their own products. Now, in both of these cases, the people, the crowd, are getting what they need from each other rather than buying it from traditional companies. What does that mean? Before we talk about the future, let's talk about the last cycle, the last 2 cycles for that matter. I'd love to see you raise your hand if you created a website in 1994. Who did that? That is actually one of the highest percentages that I see from an audience. That's very high. Now, this means you're a pioneer, but remember, for those that raise your hand, it wasn't easy. You had to know HTML, JavaScript. You might have used a layer, home site, Dreamweaver, front page. Oh, you had to have FTP with those funny little sounds. And you had to have a server that didn't fall down when you spilled coffee on it. She's nodding her head. It wasn't easy. You had to have technical skills to launch a website. But if you did, you had the power. Right? You were a publishing power. Okay, let's go forward 10 years. 2004, a young gentleman created a website in Harvard. His name was? Right, and the Facebook.com emerged. Anybody could publish without technical skills. Frankly, people without social skills publish today, but that's a whole nother story that we could talk about over break. So here we are in the social media era, 10 years later. And information has been democratized. The crowd is creating content and sharing it. People got disrupted. Who got disrupted? Marketers, media, journalists, Hollywood, right? Blockbuster, Kodak. Okay, you ready for the next 10 years? Here we are. We're now entering, this year, the collaborative economy age. And this is when people are making their own goods and sharing what they already have instead of buying it from traditional brands. It's actually a pretty big disruption. Let me share some stats with you. 2 weeks ago, the cover of the Chronicle said that taxis have had 65% loss of rides. 65%. 3 years ago, they laughed at Uber. 2 years ago, they scoffed at Lyft. They're not laughing anymore. 65% of your revenue gone in 3 years. And hotels, so every 1% rise of Airbnb, says Boston University, is half a point revenue loss to a hotel. And if you've seen Airbnb's bookings, it looks like a hockey stick. This goes on and on. Lending Club down the street, they've done $5 billion of peer-to-peer loans instead of people going to the bank. This is in every sector. I'll show you in just a sec. So the question is, what role do companies play when people get what they need from each other? The good news is, we're going to follow similar patterns that we did, like Mark Benioff led us through the Facebook era. That was a famous TechCrunch post about 4 or 5 years ago. You guys remember that? Anybody? The Facebook era. And then we saw Chatter and a lot of social business tools and suites. Facebook was emulated by companies. So what this new space is called the collaborative economy. And I'd like to define it. This is a working definition, but it's an economic model where the people are creating and sharing their own stuff, but corporations have to be part of that too. Let's take a look. Meet the collaborative economy honeycomb. And I'm going to walk us through this framework. And honeycombs are a great metaphor for this new economy that's people-driven. The reason is honeycombs are resilient and efficient. You can put a lot of weight on it, and they're sufficient. There's no spaces between it. If you had circles together, there would be spaces. Nature chose the honeycomb for a very specific reason: resilient and efficient. Now, in the center of this is the people. And this is a very different type of person. Remember 10 years ago when social media said, don't call them the audience anymore? They're all tweeting and podcasting and Facebooking now. They're creators of content. Well, this new type of person is a very different type of person. Whatever you do, don't you dare call them a consumer. They're not consuming. They're crowdfunding, they're making, they're sharing, they're empowered people. It's a very different type of role. We haven't seen this before. It kind of looks like how it was before the Industrial Revolution happened, when last names actually meant something. Smith, Fisher, Cook, Owyang. Well, forget the last one. But the point is, we used to be entrepreneurs. We were born into that, and then things changed. Now we're going back to that. So let's take a look at 6 industries. We'll look at goods, food, services, transportation, space, and money. And I'll show you how they're all becoming peer-to-peer. I'll show you one example of a startup you probably know, and then I'll show you an example of what a company, maybe yours, what they're doing about it. Let's take a look. In the goods space, there's a couple of things happening here. We're seeing used goods like eBay and Craigslist have been around for a while, and we're seeing new types of rental models. For example, my 2-year-old, her toys are rented from Play-Go. We have Duplo sent to us on demand. Legos as a service. We don't buy them. And then we're also seeing the custom-made goods. Let's take a look. This is the tech shop down the street. There's over 10 tech shops. There's one in Austin. There's one in Chicago and Detroit. And everything that you need to build your dreams is in there. Wood-making tools, laser cutters, 3D printers. But more importantly, there's a community. At least 100 makers are in the shop at any given day. Products like the foldable kayak that you saw on Shark Tank, or Square. Square came out of tech shop. Lots of products are being built there. People are going back to that old way. So what are companies doing about that? Have you heard of Shapeways, 3D printing as a service that he has? It's a community where people can upload files for anything that can be printed out, and they get it printed from very expensive printers. You can get things printed in gold, stainless steel, and plastics, and even all kinds of salts. Really weird stuff. Apparently, there's a very active community of gentlemen who print out My Little Ponies. They're called bronies. Any bronies in the audience? No judgment. So Hasbro saw all of these My Little Ponies and Transformers, their other brand, being printed out illegally. And they said, what should we do? I'm sure you can imagine what legal said, right? Shut that down. But instead, they served up the 3D printing files, they're called STL files, and they encouraged this community to print out the official versions, and Hasbro takes a revenue cut. Hasbro's working with the makers. They've changed their business model. It's a crowd company. All right, let's take a look at food. What could possibly be happening in food? We all know about Airbnb, where people's homes are becoming hotels. Meet Feastly, SF startup, where people's home kitchens are now becoming restaurants. That's right, if you want a home-cooked Peruvian food, an authentic meal and a conversation with people you don't know yet that are not yet your friends but soon will be, you can go to a stranger's house for dinner. Meet Feastly in many different cities all over the country. Now, what are big companies doing about it? We're seeing that Whole Foods is partnering with the crowd. Last month, they partnered with Instacart so the crowd can deliver food from their actual stores. That's extending their value promise from just being a retailer to that final mile, which is a challenge for many retailers and grocery stores. Whole Foods is now a crowd company. All right, let's take a look at services. There's all kinds of personal services you can imagine. Like, for example, there's TaskRabbit, which will do errands for you. There's even, my assistant, she's from Zirtual, virtual assistant. I've never met her. She does all my scheduling for the company and the team. And then I use Cloud Peeps, who is a community manager. I have a very small company, so we only need a few hours, so it's on demand. Oh, there's Air PR, which is PR staff on demand. Oh yeah, there's even a medical marijuana delivery in SF with ease.com. Anybody have the app? They forgot about it. They didn't even know. Never mind. Okay, all right. So let's take a look at Odesk. Odesk is the largest marketplace of workers. And think about here in your jobs. If you need somebody to do research for you or to do project management or even light development, you can find workers in Odesk. Even MBAs in India and China can work for you on demand when you want. You can actually watch their screens in real time, take screenshots. So people are getting what they need from each other rather than going to a traditional consulting company. So we're seeing other companies try to embrace this and create their own services. Home Depot is now offering services, trucks as a service, tools as a service, and last year in New York, they actually had Christmas trees as a service. If you live in Manhattan, chances are you don't have a car, you don't need one, you don't want one. And all across the boroughs, there's idle Christmas trees that are wilting. So using the idle Uber drivers, they can get these things delivered at a push of an app. Christmas trees as a service by Home Depot and Uber. A crowd company. Let's do transportation. Let's talk about the giant in this space, Uber. Uber, they're right down the street on Market and 9th. Uber is actually not really a car company. Don't make that mistake. They're actually a logistics company. And using the Internet of Things, every single driver gets one of the iPhones, and they can figure out where the idle cars are. Even here at Dreamforce, and there's Fleet Week today as well, you're gonna have a hard time getting a taxi. But if you really want to Uber, you can. You're gonna pay 2.5 times that amount because it's surge charged this hour. I just looked at the app a while ago. But you're guaranteed to get a ride, but you will pay more for it. Now, the interesting thing about Uber is their biggest investor is Google. Why? When you look really carefully, Google plus Uber is a threat to Amazon. Google and Uber are delivering retail and food to people's homes in SF, New York, and LA, and they can do it at a local marketplace faster than 3 days from Amazon. This is a direct attack on the front on logistics and retail, so watch for this space. Now, what are car companies doing about it? Car companies are struggling. Millennials are less likely to buy cars now. They're losing the battle to the mobile phone. People can connect to their friends through Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and Snapchat. So what we're seeing is that car companies are creating new services. Have you seen the white 1 Series electrics, BMWs around town? Those are actually BMW's products on demand. It's called Drive Now. We'll show a picture in a second. And you pay $90 and you have a lifetime membership to thank you, You have a lifetime membership to get these cars, and you pay a certain amount per day to use this car. It's an electric car. So BMW has changed their business model to be an on-demand business model in order to compete with the ride-sharing, car-sharing companies of the world. That's a pretty big change. It's a crowd company. All right, let's do space. The big giant, obviously, is Airbnb. So Wyndham Hotels is worth $7 billion. Hyatt's worth, I think, $9 billion. Airbnb has only been around for 5 years. They don't own a single bed, bar, or bathroom. They're worth $10 billion. $10 billion. Heavily funded, darling in San Francisco. These are the homes just available. I grabbed a screenshot a few days ago. People are renting out their homes, even for Dreamforce, because all the hotels are booked. People are sharing their own spaces with each other. They've already moved into food as well, so they're moving beyond just housing. And we're seeing hotels adjust their business model as well. Marriott is now offering co-working spot on demand. A similar play, this is happening in Redmond and in Chicago, where you can get these spots on demand with services. So hotels are trying to figure out, what do they do? There's no partnership play. All right, last one, let's talk about money. 3 things happening in this. And by the way, this graphic on these slides will be public. You can find everything. 3 things happening here. The crowd is creating their own currencies, like Bitcoin. Have you heard of Coinbase? They're like 2 blocks down the street. And then there's crowdfunding, and there's peer-to-peer lending. Let's take a look. Oops, backing up. So Kickstarter. I love this example here. Apple made a lot of noise 2 weeks ago about their smartwatch. That's cool, but Kickstarter, the crowd, beat Apple to market by a whole year. The crowd beat Apple to market. They kickstarted it, they had the project, they funded it, and people have it. Did anybody back the Pebble? Couple? Yep, he's got it on. So you beat Apple to market. That's what it means. So what are companies doing? Oh, well, they're allowing for crowdfunding too. This is U-Haul Investors Club, where the crowd can actually, if you want to, you can fund and own a truck or a steering wheel or actually a tire on a truck. And you get revenue dividends every quarter from the performance of this truck. Now, why would U-Haul do such a thing? Well, 2 things. Number 1 is they can set better rates than a bank. It's a cheaper form of capital. And secondly, crowdfunding is the highest form of loyalty. Crowdfunding is the highest form of loyalty. Because that gentleman over there, he raised his Pebble Watch proudly. He's going to be engaged, he's going to be an advocate, and he's going to give product feedback. Crowdfunding is the highest form of loyalty. So bringing it all together, you can see how crowdfunding and the maker movement are tied. This is the collaborative economy. Now, I'm going to give some predictions about this space, but I first want to reach out to you, and I want you guys to tell me and tell each other, why is this movement happening? Why now? What's causing it? Just shout it out. I'll repeat it out. Right here. The cloud. What's that? I can't hear you, sorry. Shout it out. Why is this happening? Value. I think we heard that. Yep. That's actually a very good answer. That is true. Yes?
Cheap storage, cheap communication, and infinite computation capability.
Yep, cheap storage, cheap computation, and cheap communication. It's built on social, right? I heard another one here. Go ahead. People don't like the big companies. Mistrust of the big companies. Now it's peer-to-peer, right? Desire for real connection. Are you going to bond with a logo, or are you going to bond with that Airbnb host or that Lyft driver who's going to fist bump you? It's a very different experience. What else? Authenticity. Yep. I can't hear you, sorry. Disposable income. That's actually true. We did research and found that people who make over 100K are more likely to use the life as a service things. But it's not limited to them only. Okay? Excellent. Simplicity. It's easy. Okay, so here's the thing. How many of you guys have a chauffeur? I know Matt does, but anybody else? Well, now you can have a chauffeur, an Uber driver, when you only need it for 10 minutes, right? So it's simplicity. You can live like royalty without owning a throne. That's really what it means, okay? Yes? Ultimate efficiency. It's kind of like, God, it kind of sounds familiar, like you don't need servers or storage, or you don't need to maintain them. It sounds familiar, right? Just I don't know where you would hear such a thing. Okay, what else? Predictability, good. So these are all great answers. I'm going to add a few more. Yes? How about density? We are in the second most dense city right now in America. So it's spurring out of SF, right? But it's going to spread elsewhere. Internet of Things? How about focus on sustainability? And also, how much stuff do we really need to own? What does the government tell us to do when we're in a recession? Spend, buy more stuff. What are you going to do with all that stuff? Who's got a garage full of stuff? Who's got a storage unit? Yeah. And the last one is population increase. When your parents were born, there's a lot of young folks here, chances are there was around 2 billion people on the planet in 1950. When we were born, right now, today, there's 7 billion on the planet. We went from 2 to 7 in just 60 years. When I retire, it'll be 9 billion. When I'm on my deathbed, 10 billion people on the planet. Do we actually have a choice? I say probably not. All right, so let's try to wind down some unique predictions, and then we can open up to Q&A. So one of the things that's happening out of this movement is people don't necessarily need to own things. They just need access to them. You don't need servers. You just need access to them. So the prediction I have 3 here, is in the future we'll see a very common business model like software as a service, but for everything. It might be a membership-based or a monthly usage, all you can eat access to your favorite brands, and you'll get the latest products. You don't really own them. Access over ownership, quoting Lisa Gansky. The second prediction is hotels are getting their asses handed to them by Airbnb, and there's no partnership opportunity by Airbnb. So we will see a very progressive hotel company actually compete with Airbnb head-on and pilfer the top hosts in every city and say, don't work with Airbnb, let us list your properties on our site. We'll give you access to our supply chain of the different beds that we have, and you get access to our cleaning systems and our crew, but more importantly, you get access to something Airbnb will never give you, loyalty members. You don't have to worry about crazy parties. Now, for the guests, they still get that unique experience, but it's certified by W or Marriott or other Sheraton. And lastly, for those hotels, they'll get something that they couldn't get before, selling new stuff and at least 10% cut from a transaction they weren't going to get. Does it sound crazy? Actually, it's not. It's just called franchising. But now a savvy hotel will franchise the crowd. My hope is companies like Salesforce will build the software that empower that. I know all the parts are there. It's just about packaging. So that's my second prediction. Some hotel will take Airbnb head on because they don't have a choice. And the third one, remember crowdfunding and the maker movement? Well, savvy companies are bringing their own customers in to build their products with them. They say, hey, you can crowdfund it. For example, GE says, you design the product, we'll build it, manufacture it, and you take a revenue cut. That's GE and Quirky. That's already happening. So I think in the future, we might not be able to tell the difference between employees and customers. Companies are going to pull makers in and crowdfunders very closely. You can't tell the difference between employees and customers. So to close things down, I know I gave you a lot of information in a very short period of time. So let me try to summarize it in 5 key takeaways. Number 1, people are empowered to get what they need from each other. Technology makes it so dang easy. It means the crowd is becoming like a company, and they are already bypassing inefficient institutions like taxis, the first hit. Banks are next, hotels are getting hit. It's spreading. Just like social media, we're going to use the same tools with our company. We're going to use the same strategies, just like the Facebook imperative, Mark Benioff's blog posts many years ago. It won't be easy. We will see companies have to do significant business model change. I showed you 6 examples. But if a company does it, it means they're resilient, connected to the ecosystem. They're empowering others, built to last and more efficient and therefore profitable. I'd like to welcome each and every one of you to this new world. Welcome to the collaborative economy. Thanks a lot. All right.
Thanks, Jeremiah. Now we're going to have 20 minutes of Q&A. And
come stand up here.
Oh, yep.
Do you have the first question?
Yes. So you were talking about population, up to 7 billion, then 9, and you said on your deathbed 10.
If everything goes well.
I was wondering, can we use the sharing economy for kids, and maybe we all don't have to have them, and that would enable us to keep the... Is there some legal complication?
Who's got some kids they want to offer up? Yes. I think that's called baby. Some of that is illegal. I saw the looks on people's faces, but yes, I think that's possible. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, obviously, clearly, I'm not the right person to ask the first question, but people, now's your chance. Let's learn more about the future from this guy. Thanks.
Yes. How do we think Salesforce fits into these pictures and models? I am in a constant discussion. Do you guys know Kyle Lacey, Peter Coffey, and these folks? Yeah, so I've had a lot of conversations. They know all this stuff. They're reading it. They're watching it. They're looking at this space. Peter Schwartz as well. And I think Salesforce has a unique capability to build the software that could power enterprises to be part of this. Just like with social media. You can hear me say that trend over and over. Salesforce is a leader in social enterprise. Seeing what Facebook did in LinkedIn and replicating. It can happen again with these new startups. There's a lot of startups in this space. There's 9,000 startups. And we're seeing B2B ones emerge. For example, there's white label Airbnb software that's emerging called Near Me software. There's white label Uber software called Local Motion out of Palo Alto, where your own company can have fleets on demand with an app. So I'm already seeing the enterprise versions being replicated. Salesforce and middleware players and system integrators can actually bring this to life. That's the vision I have. Salesforce has done this before. Yeah, please. Sure. The question is, outside of San Francisco, and AKA, Jeremiah, you're in a bubble. I got the message. I got the message. Yes, we see high adoption in New York, and London, and Paris, where there's a lot of density. That happens fast when it's too expensive to own expensive, durable goods. You want to get them on demand. But in the research we did, I used to be a forestry analyst, so I did surveys on this with my research partners. We found that even folks in rural areas are using shared services and as well, or even online, or even eBay, Kijiji. These are all part of the experience. That's part of that's already blooming. But the big thing to look at is we found a direct trend that if you use social media, you're very likely to use this next phase. And if you remember, 10 years ago, people said social media is only for the bubble kids in SF. So you can see how that it will proliferate quickly. Thank you. Yeah, so watch the social media. I mean, it's pinned off social media. Airbnb is using Facebook Connect. Yes?
What are your thoughts on, in some ways, the inventors of the collaborative economy is the post office? How do they fix their
and library,
shit?
Yeah. The post office is on demand. Parks are supposed to be shared play space. All of the taxis were supposed to be this too. Why own a car in New York? You can have one on demand. Those companies that you just mentioned, I guess they're not companies, institutions, they're not using this. They're not tapping into the Internet of Things, mobile apps, mobile payments, social media, and location data. They're not there yet. So that's the difference. Yeah, in the back.
I think when we talk about taxi companies and some of those, they're not using technology. But part of the reasons is I think there's a tension between this and regulation, and that regulation has perhaps protected monopolies like taxi companies, but it also protects us. So I wonder whether, and I think with Uber and stuff, you're seeing people questioning, well, wait a minute, there's a reason that regulation was in place. Yeah. How do you see that playing out over the next 5-10 years?
Yeah, that's a tough question, and every city is responding to this differently. So when you watch SF, Seattle, and Portland, they tend to adopt these things faster. Whether that's right or wrong, that's what's happening. In San Francisco, Airbnb is paying 14% hotel tax. And Uber is charging extra $1 for background checks. I'd argue it's probably not working that well. There's been some significant problems. But that's also happening with taxis as well. So regulation is still up in the air. The big question is this: can these tech startups self-regulate themselves? Probably not. Like Facebook, can they self-regulate themselves with privacy and ID? And you probably heard Snowden's comments today. Don't use any of those services. Right? So it's hard to tell. But here's what startups are doing. They're trying to have a background check. They're doing two-way ratings. When you're in an Uber, you're being rated too. You guys know that, right? So the driver is rating the customers. So bad customers will get weeded out. Also, they offer Facebook Connect, so you can see which one of your friends have stated location. And fourth, they have insurance policies. MetLife is covering Lyft drivers and passengers. Is it perfect? No, absolutely not. And so cities are going to reel with trying to figure this thing out. Great question. Let's get to another one. Right here. Yeah. What about seniors and baby boomers that fit? How do they fit into this model? They are absolutely part of this. In fact, we saw a significant rise in baby boomers using these services during the recession. Most of these startups emerged in 2008, by the way. Airbnb, Uber, and Lending Club. That was like the height of Occupy. So many baby boomers are Airbnb hosts. When you go to their website, you'll see the stories on there. Many of them are those folks. I use Odesk. I have a copy editor. His name's Lou. He's retired. He wants to do this to keep his mind fresh and get some disposable income. So everybody could have a play in it, in this space. Thank you. Yeah. Josh.
One question, super simple. Have you heard of Top Coder?
Top Coder. Yeah, that's your company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. What do you think the future of it is? I mean, a lot of companies are going into this space. There's things like 99 Designs, Top Coder, things that have been there forever, right? So do you think they have an advantage, or do you think they're just going to be one to many going forward?
I think that was a brilliant play. If you actually read the press release announcing that acquisition, you'll see a reference from me in the press release. You don't need to have full-time staff for everything. It means that in the future, it means companies, those that are full-time, will have to understand knowledge management and project management with the crowd. So when my dad, he had one job in his 50 years of his career. I will probably have 5 jobs in my career. When my daughter graduates college, I'm preparing her to have 5 jobs at the same time, because that's where we're headed. We'll be highly specialized. Those in the corporate institution role need to understand how to manage institutional knowledge. So what I'm saying is you're absolutely on trend. That was a smart acquisition. Yeah. Yes, sir.
I'm just curious. I know there's a lot of benefits, as you mentioned, about actually running this technology now, benefits to us. I'm just curious, from your personal perspective, if there's anything you miss about the old economy at all? It could be none. I'm just curious.
No, it's fair. Some of my friends who are in the area, they don't have a car at all anymore. They're saying, why I need it. Uber and Lyft's, their mission, you can hear it in their press releases, is they want to make it so cheap you don't need to own a car. I know sometimes there's a benefit of having your own physical space. The downside of this new collaborative economy is everything is going to be shared and passed through hands. So the sense of this is mine will be very different. So the way that young folks like you might be measuring success in life is experiences. Now I can travel to London and actually tell everybody, and I can stay in an amazing loft. I don't have to own it. Now I can rent a boat with Boatbound. That's Uber for boats, by the way. Boatbound. You can get a yacht today and hang out in McCovey Cove. You actually could really do that right now. You don't need to own a boat. So it's a different way of thinking about success in life. Hey.
I have 2 questions for you.
Oh, careful.
Just curious about your background, how you got into this.
Thank you.
And then I'll ask my second question. So how do you think consumers will feel about privacy, and are we being ignorant in what we share, because you kind of lose a sense of self in some of it?
I know, it's true. So my background is, okay, how far do you want to go back? Okay, here, funny fact, I'm actually 5th generation Chinese American. My family came to SF in 1880, so that's very rare. And then I used to be a forestry analyst covering peer-to-peer social media. 2 years ago, I saw social media pretty much maturing because Salesforce, Adobe, and Oracle pretty much bought everything. And then, so I said, okay, what's next? And then I saw this phase coming. I got really excited, and I said, it's the physical world. Social media for the physical world is coming. And so I launched my company a year ago to help big corporations with that. So about privacy, we will all be hyper-connected whether we want it or not. It's already happening on social media. So millennials are sharing lots of things already. They grew up sharing. They're sharing their salary info. They share work emails, whether you like it or not. They're sharing it. They're passing it to each other. They're sharing pictures of their body on digital. This is all very, very normal to them. That's all media. So why wouldn't they share the physical world? This is going to happen. The downside of that is pretty obvious. We're all hyper-connected. I'm not quite sure if it's the downside or if that's just a reality we're going to have to accept. But I think new forms of experience management and security and identity will be needed. So think about Symantec and security companies. They need to protect Airbnbs and Lyfts and Ubers who are all becoming Wi-Fi enabled. It'll be a very different world. A little scary? Yes, please.
How do you see this impacting nonprofits?
Nonprofits, yes. Many of the leaders in this new economy are nonprofits, so they're the ones waving the charge. And mainly they're waving it, so it's WeShare, Shareable Magazine. These are all my friends who are in the space. And the main reason is because of empowerment of people and sustainability. So they see a wonderful opportunity for us to own less shit, to be more useful, and to empower individuals to be entrepreneurs. So here's a stat. By 2020, there's supposed to be 40% of Americans' workforce is a freelancer, whether you're moonlighting or full-time. But it means we can now work independently. It means we might not need to work corporate jobs anymore. So it could empower people. So for nonprofits, there's a lot of opportunities. Now, as a nonprofit, you can and should use all these technologies: co-working space, sharing goods, upcycling, recycling products. Great. How are we doing on time? I'll keep on going.
I think we have time for one more question. Who's the lucky last question? Oh, we have one.
So the benefit of a corporate job is there's a semi-security blanket, and if everybody's going to be freelance, or the majority of the population is freelance, where's their security?
I'm going to paraphrase. We value full-time positions because they're what did you say, semi-security blanket? The fact that you said semi is a kind of an indicator of how we probably all feel. The Freelancers Union is a 10-year-old organization out of New York. Yes, there's a union for freelancers. Top coders should pay attention to this. And Freelancers Union provides health benefits and even actual clinics in Manhattan. And they have a 401k program and a retirement package program for freelancers. We're already starting to see the crowd organize to self-protect itself. So that's starting to happen. We don't know how far that's going to go. But one thing we do know, through the power of crowdfunding social media, the crowd in its full control has upended governments. The last point on this is, and I think this is a powerful point to end, last week in Hong Kong, there was a significant revolt and protest. You guys heard about it, right? Okay? What did the government do? They shut down the internet and Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. What did the crowd do? They downloaded FireChat, peer-to-peer social networking app that uses Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. And they self-connected as a mesh network, and they said, call in resources. Umbrellas up, they're firing gas canisters. Boom, all the umbrellas went up. They self-organized. The crowd is very powerful. So I'd like to leave on that note. The crowd is very powerful. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you, Jeremiah. That was pretty impressive. Matt, I understand why you got so excited that he confirmed he could make it. That was quite amazing, very thought-provoking. I'm sure a lot of people in here are now contemplating what their next move might be in their career. I know I am. I'm going to head over to Hilton and give a proposition to them that I think might work. So look, I've got a couple of things that I wanted to just cover as we wrap up today's session. Let me introduce to you the App Exchange. Thank you.
APP, how can we explain it? Let's start with app exchanging. It's apps that keep you jumping, shouting, saying it. A is for awesome, P is for people scratch your temple. The last P, well, that's pretty simple.
You may have heard of something people call the OPP. Well, in our circles, that just stands for opportunity. The App Exchange is where we find exactly what we need, and all the apps we use are absolutely best in breed.
We got your finance, got your analytics and IT, customer service apps and enterprise resource planning. With all that, we got sales. No necessary emails.
Gotta get the spin, the N to the I to N to the G, and with Conversa come more leads to opportunities. It's APP time and if data is what you gotta get. From App Exchange, install MuleSoft to IO it.
How many admins out there know just what I'm getting at? Who thinks it's wrong to be keying and rekeying that? Just holler if you love the App Exchange. You down with it? Woo! And if you need it, here's your membership.
You down with APP?
Yeah, paid and free.
You down with APP?
Yeah, paid and free.
You down with APP?
Yeah, paid and free.
You down with APP?
Of the DUG.
You down with APP?
Yeah, paid and free.
You down with APP?
Yeah, paid and free.
You down with APP?
Yeah, paid and free.
You down with APP?
All the MVPs.
In a party with the leaders and the MVPs from Jeremiah, Owyang, or should I say Owyang? He's our honorary APP bro now, yeah!
We're up here showing Mr. Bruno Mars just how we do. And now you know what to say, just on cue. So many apps, so little time is what we always say. We need them all just to make it through the day.
When I roll down the street, I know I'm nothing like the Snoop, but I can't live without Conversica and draw a loop. My APP's always got Spanning and the DocuSign. Just add some MuleSoft, and I'm feeling fine.
All right, let's focus on exactly why we're here. We're amped about the App Exchange, you know that's very clear. We love our apps, our platform, and we love our Salesforce One. Woo! We're focused on success, good folks, and good, clean fun.
A special shout out goes to MuleSoft for this awesome space. And thanks to Jeremiah, because he can't turn up the bass. We're leaving now to network, nibble, and do what you like. So put your hands up in the air before we drop the mic.
You down with APP?
Yeah, you even free.
You down with APP?
Yeah, paid and free.
You down with APP?
Yeah, paid and free.
You down with APP?
All the DUG.
You down with APP?
Yeah, paid and free.
You down with APP?
Yeah, paid and free.
You down with APP?
Yeah, paid and free.
You down with APP?
All the MVPs.
Who's down with
APP?
Paid and free.